Everyone is concerned about money. The rich are concerned about getting more money. The poor are concerned about not having enough money. There are two things in the world that everyone is concerned about. One is the weather, and the other is money. If money is so important to us, we should know what it is and what it is not. Money is not like a bag of grapes. When you eat the grapes, they are gone. You will need to find a new source of grapes so you can fill your bag again. This is not how money works. Once you spend your dollar bill, it does not get digested and turned into shit. It merely is received by one person who briefly holds on to it, and then they give it to someone else. When people talk about money for a project, they always ask, where is the money going to come from? As if there is a box that contains all of the money in the world, and that money would need to be distributed for the people and the projects that need it. When the next project comes up, then the money would be pulled out of the same box and distributed to those involved in the project. If this was the case, eventually the box would be empty, and this is not how money works. Money doesn't come from anywhere. There is not a box like Fort Knox or source that contains it. There may be ledgers that accountants write numbers on, the same way that you would keep score in a golf game or when you're playing cards. Accountants keep score of money. What they are keeping track of are points or kudos that are assigned to a certain person. There is a concept used in economic circles called the velocity of money. The velocity of money is used to determine the health of an economy. A specific measurement of the velocity of money is the GDP, which is called the gross domestic product. When the economy is in increasing velocity, in increasing GDP, you have a healthy economy. When there is a decreasing GDP, the economy is sluggish. This is like a human body that is full of blood, but the blood is not circulating. If the blood is not circulating, the person is dead. If the blood is moving too fast, with a heart rate of 200 BPM or faster, the nutrition and the oxygen does not have time to react with the cells, and this will also cause death. As in an economy, money needs to have a velocity in a certain range to make sure that the economy is healthy. The most simple description of this would be when there are 10 people sitting in a room with $1 bill. They pass the dollar bill from one to another once each hour. Goods and services like an apple, a sandwich, or a hug and a kiss go in the opposite direction of the dollar bill every time it is passed. When you go home or give your check to your significant other, you should get a hug and a kiss. These are goods and services that we're talking about. How much will each person in this imaginary circle that we're talking about be earning if the dollar bill goes around the whole circle in 1 hour, once? They will be making $1 per hour, even though there is only $1 bill and 10 people. If the dollar bill goes around 10 times an hour, each person will be making $10 an hour. If the dollar bill goes around 100 times an hour, each person will be making $100 per hour. Even though there is $1 bill, some people will be saying they don't get to keep the money, and they are 100% correct. Every week you receive your paycheck. What do you do with that paycheck? You pay bills and you give it to other people. The next week you will get another check and you pay bills and give that one away too. The faster the money goes through the economy, the better off everyone is. What happens to the game if one person puts the dollar bill in their pocket, gets nervous, or greedy, and keeps that dollar bill in their pocket? The game is over. This is what happens during a recession. People stop spending their money in the economy, the GDP, the velocity of money collapses. The last time this happened in the United States in 2007, George Bush took a piece of paper and wrote $800 billion on it, walked it across the street to the banks, and gave it to them. This caused the general population to be more confident in the economy so that they would be more willing to spend even more money. 4 years later, the bankers wrote a number on a piece of paper, walked it across the street to Barack Obama, and said, "Thank you." In an interview, George Bush was asked where he got the $800 billion number, and he said, "I made the number up. It seemed like a really large number." To keep money circulating, we have a person in the room, and when he observes a person holding the money in their pocket and not passing it on, he takes it from them and puts it back into circulation. This person is called the tax man. All of your taxes are given to people that are building schools, hospitals, and weapons. The government doesn't keep your money. They give it to someone else. The question is, how do we increase the velocity of money in our lives and in the economy? You could walk into the room and frighten everyone and say, "There's a terrorist outside, and if you don't pass the money around faster, you will be killed." You could also tell everyone that there's a wolf at the door, and if you do not pass the money around fast enough, the door will automatically open up and let the wolf in. This is what happens during the wartime. More money gets circulated and more work gets done, but it's only out of fear. You could also give everyone $10 $1 bills, which would make the fear go away, and they would be more willing to pass the dollar bills around. This is accomplished by raising the minimum wage. If you pay people a higher wage, they will purchase more goods. This will help the businesses to hire more people. This gives more people money to buy more goods. The more goods people buy, the more items need to be recycled and processed, the more storage that we need, the more garbage that is taken out and needs to be processed. All of this increases the GDP. The higher the GDP and the higher the percent of increase of the GDP, the more confident people are to be spending the money in the economy. Money is merely a figment of our imagination. Money is only energy moving from one person to another. The reason that we need money is because of the human condition, where we are trying to keep track of our value compared to someone else. Goods and services could be passed around from one person to another without having a monetary value attached to it. The only way that this can happen is if everyone in the world were to advance to Kaivala and achieve enlightenment, and that they would no longer need a scorecard to rate their value. We will be discussing this in finer detail in later discussions. Money is extremely complicated, far more complicated than sending a rocket to the moon. Knowing how money works requires understanding people and how people function in the human condition. Observe your life in detail and examine how important money is to you. Journal your feelings and the importance that you put on material possessions in your life. Begin to figure out what possessions that you really need for your life and what possessions you need to establish your status in the world. Decide if any judgments need to be made on what attachments that you should keep or get rid of as far as money is concerned. You can use stickies to sort out your thoughts and feelings on what money is and what it is not. With all of these things considered, should you be hoarding your money or should you be giving it away? This is a decision that you need to make for yourself. You are great and wonderful. Thank you for joining us on the road to Kaivala.